Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Guns and Gadgets. I hope you're having a fantastic Sunday. I'm just going to do a quick little update here on constitutional carry in the states that are considering it. I've been working all morning, contacting people in states, bugging people on a Sunday. But this is information that I think people who not only just live in those states, but everybody needs to know. In fact, one state we'll get to is asking for help from us from outside of the state. And you're going to want to, I think you're going to want to help out on this one. So before I jump into these states, no sponsor today, I just want to thank a couple of my friends that have taken on positions as state directors for Gun Owners of America in their respective states. Paul Glasgow from Legally Armed America, he is the new Louisiana state director. Way to go, Paul. Hell of a guy. Check out his channel. And my buddy Daniel in Kentucky is the state director in Kentucky. You know him as Gun Doctor TV. Two solid cats. Now they're doing solid work. They've been doing it all along. Now they're just the head honcho for GOA inside the state boundaries. Guys, anything I can do to help you, you know my number. Call me. Seriously. All right, let's jump into the states that are currently considering constitutional carry. Some states have had some movement. Some have not. Some have been good. Some have not. We're going to start out in Nebraska. Nebraska's bill is LB773. You're going to have to excuse me for looking at my notes because there's a lot going on. So Nebraska's bill was introduced January 5th, and it sits in the Judiciary Committee. And they actually had a hearing on that on January 20th last week. The vast amount of citizens were for it. They want constitutional carry. However, those oath breakers came out against it. The Omaha Police Officers Association came out against it, as did the chief of the Lincoln Police Department, Teresa Ewins, E-W-I-N-S. She came out against it too. They both sounded like bobos because, you know what, lawful carry, people who are defending themselves aren't the ones out there shooting on the corners. They're just not. Be real with yourselves. Honor your oath. You're supposed to support and defend the Constitution, not to look to hinder and expose. So the hearing went well, but I don't believe there was a vote taken. They're going to consider more debate. Some people that are also fighting against this, are the Nebraskans Against Violence, as well as Moms Demand Action. And Governor Ricketts, who was at SHOT Show last week, he came out in support of constitutional carry. So you have a governor who's supporting it. You have a bill that appears that it can make its way through legislature. It's going to be incumbent on you, the 2A community, the residents of Nebraska, to get it done. So start jumping on your legislators and be louder than Moms Demand Action and the cops who are only worried about their paychecks. Let's move to Indiana. Indiana has two bills. HB 1077, I've already covered that. It's passed the full House vote. It's gone on to the Senate. They need to consider it and see if they want to make changes and then reconcile that. The Senate has, last week, took up their own bill, SB 14, and it's a little more restrictive. And what it wants to do is limit permits to people under 21 years of age, as long as they're not prohibited from carrying a firearm by the government. So the House bill that has passed, that went to the Senate, it still sits in the committee that it died in last time. And that was thanks to the Senate President pro tempore. He did that again, probably to try to kill the bill. So if you live in Indiana, you got to do it. You got to make some phone calls. You got to send some emails. You got to make some noise, because they're going to just kill it if they're not forced not to. Who came out against this? Well, the chief of the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department came out against it, as did the Marion County prosecutors. Losers. It's also come out that from a group called the 2A Project in Indiana, that Governor Holcomb is behind attempts to kill the bill. Now, what they're asking, and I'm going to put this on screen here, is to contact Governor Holcomb and Senator Bray and Senator Brown. Senator Bray is the president pro tempore I spoke about that sent the bill into a committee to die. Senator Brown is the chairman of the Judiciary Committee. And you can see the numbers and the emails for those people. So please, if you live in Indiana and you care, this is what you need to do. Now, I mentioned the Senate version that wants to have restrict permits to somebody who's under 21 who wants to carry. They had a 4-hour debate on Tuesday, the 19th. I think it was Tuesday. And there was no vote, but they're going to consider more debate going forward. So that bill has a chance, but unless you get a hold of these people who are holding it back, including the governor, this is all for naught. Now, I mentioned in the opening that there is a state that is asking for people who don't live there to make a couple phone calls and emails, and that's Florida. Yes, Florida. That's right. Gun Owners of America, their state director, Luis Valdez, and Eric Pratt, who is the senior vice president of Gun Owners of America, they're asking for all of us to help. Why? Well, that's because the tourism department has said that they are against constitutional carry because all that freedom will hurt the tourism dollars in Florida, and that is what the politicians are saying that want to kill this bill. Now, remember, there's a lot of rhino, pro-gun, fake wannabe Republicans that are trying to kill this bill too, and unless we expose them, it's going to happen again. Now, the bill in Florida is HB 103, and I'm going to put this on the screen too. They are asking you to specifically, yes, you, even you in Fairbanks, Alaska, call Governor Ron DeSantis. You can see the number and the email here on the screen, as well as the Secretary of State, Laurel Lee, who runs the tourism department. Call them and tell them that as a tourist who does, has, will, or plans on frequenting Florida as a tourist, that you want constitutional carry so that you can defend yourself inside their state boundaries. We all know that constitutional carry in Florida would, the claim that it would hurt tourism is a lie, because if you were concealed carry, nobody even knows you're carrying anyway. I mean, nobody cares about all the criminals that are carrying. It doesn't stop tourism. It's just amazing that they will try this again and again and again because people, for whatever reason, don't like to be the squeaky wheel. We're seeing states start to wake up and gun control is losing, and we have to help perpetuate that. And this is the first time a state's asked for everybody else to chime in. Ohio has Senate Bill 215 that passed the Senate, went to the House. The House passed their own version in November. They're still trying to get together and figure out the crossing the T's and dotting the I's so they can get a final copy off to Governor DeWine. And now Governor DeWine's office says that he's extremely pro-gun. However, will he sign this if one gets to his desk? That is yet to be seen. And there are people on both sides of the fence that think he won't sign it. And there are some that are hoping he will. But you live in Ohio, make that noise, guys and gals. Georgia, HB 2, I didn't write it down. I think it's HB 2. Governor Kemp, he's called for it. He's campaigned it out in the past. It's an election year again for him. He's probably using it to garner votes. But he's come out a couple times saying, yes, because of the rising crime rates, people should be able to carry their firearm as long as they're not federally prohibited and protect themselves. And now is the time to use that in Georgia to get it passed. However, there is another group called Moms Demand Action who's fighting it. They're fighting it hard in a couple states, and Georgia is one of them. So you know what you got to do. Let's go to Wisconsin. Wisconsin, not really a lot to update in Wisconsin. It's in the Senate committee. It's Senate Bill 616. And it passed the committee on the 13th of January, but it hasn't been scheduled from what I saw on all their state sites and stuff. It hasn't moved, hasn't been scheduled for its next committee or what have you. So it's still there. It's past committee, still alive, needs work to be done. They also have another bill being considered that would lower the concealed carry law age to 18. So that's another thing to look out for in Wisconsin. Alabama. I've done a couple videos on this already. The Sheriff's Association, the Alabama Sheriff's Association, has actually partnered with Moms Demand Action to violate your rights in Alabama. They don't want constitutional carry to pass because it's going to take money out of their pockets. It's the worst thing in the world to see the sheriffs saying that we're going to vote. We want to vote against this, and we want people to come against this because we'll lose money. Boo, frick 'em who. It's time to be all to fight and stand up in Alabama because they're coming out against you. They're coming out strong, and they've teamed up with Bloomberg and Moms Demand Action to do such. It's unheard of. Now, SB 1 is the bill in Alabama. The Senate actually convenes. It starts its session Tuesday, February 1st. So we'll see what happens, although the sponsor of the bill says that he sees this coming out of committee next week. or this week. So I'll keep an eye on that. And if you live in Alabama, let me know, because some of these sheriffs, they need to have their names and faces blasted all over the interwebs for being crooked, for being anti-constitutional, and for violating their oath. The last one is Virginia. Virginia had pre-filed a couple bills, one in the House, one in the Senate, and good news is the House version, HB 288, still alive, and there's a lot of groundswell support for it. And the bad news is the Senate version, SB 330, Thursday, I think it was Thursday evening, it was killed. It's not technically dead. What the Senate did, what the committee, what they did was they vote to pass it by indefinitely. That's the terminology in Virginia, and that means that they could look at it another time, or it's dead. And this, because the Senate is still run by anti-gun Democrats, the bill's dead in the Senate. Will it pass the House? Possibly, but will it pass the Senate? Probably not. And I just spoke to my buddy Ed in Virginia, who said that they're probably not going to pass at all until Virginia wins back the Senate. That's, don't shoot the messenger. That's news coming from the ground in Virginia, and BCDL is doing a hell of a job to try to turn things around. They've done great work in the last couple of years to get it done, and there's a ton of pre-filed pro-gun bills that they're fighting for. That's the reason why I support BCDL so much. So that's the rundown of the states that are currently considering constitutional carry. Now, every time I do this video and do all this research, every now and then there's a state that'll pre-file a bill that I haven't been made aware of, and somebody always tells me. So if there's another state that isn't on this list that has a bill that's being considered, please shoot me an email at gunsandgadgets@charter.net, and I will happily keep everybody up to date. Don't forget, guys, Florida wants you to help. Pick up the phone. Call Ron DeSantis, call the Secretary of State, send them a quick email, and let them know constitutional carry needs to happen in Florida, especially for tourists, to keep safe within the Sunshine State. All right, guys and gals, that's what I got for today. Thank you so much for your time. We've gotten a notice on YouTube, on our side as a creator. It says that, hey, basically, we're going to take away some of your subscribers because we think they're spam accounts. So please check your subscriptions, not just for my channel, but for all of the channels you subscribe to, and make sure you resubscribe if you have been zoinked, because we're definitely seeing it on our side as numbers fluctuate, and usually it's because YouTube just plays their silly game, especially with the freedom community here. So thank you for your time. I appreciate each and every single one of you more than you know. Until we see each other again, be safe, stay vigilant, carry a gun to keep you, your friends, your family, your community safe. Gun on your hip is more effective than a cop on the phone, especially when the sheriffs are working with Moms Demand Action to keep your rights suppressed. Gross. See you in the next one. Take care.